Rock and Roll Geek Show 985.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020. It is 2:05 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. Very rare mid-afternoon Rock and Roll Geek Show. I'm up here in the Mountain House. First of all, let me open up the very first Tecate of the day. A little early for me to be drinking because I start drinking this early and I won't be able to stop. And by the time dinner comes around, I'll be pretty buzzed. I figured I'm up here in the Mountain House and it has been raining all day, which this week it has been like almost 100 degrees out. It's just been scorcher. And so today and tomorrow it's supposed to be raining and now it's gotten cold. I have the heater on and I'm happy that it's raining because I've gotten on this mushroom hunting kick. Yeah, that's all I need is to be eating poisonous mushrooms. But I'm out looking for mushrooms, and you know what they say after the rain, mushrooms are supposed to come out. And up here, at least when you're over 4,000 feet, I've been really getting into this like heavily recently. I'll probably talk about it more in depth on Mad at Dad. But I'm on a couple of these mushroom identification groups and hunters groups on Facebook, and I got a book called Mushrooms of the Redwood Coast or something like that, California Mushroom Book, and it's about 2.5 inches thick. There's thousands and thousands of mushrooms. So I've been up looking for mushrooms. I drove on Friday. I went way up looking for, because somebody said over 4,000 feet you find morels, which morels are like these really sought after edible mushrooms, and they're kind of unmistakable. They're kind of like beginners. If you're a beginning mushroom hunter, you won't mistake these for a poisonous mushroom because they don't really look like anything else. So, and supposedly they taste really good, and people buy them for like $50 a pound. So I was up looking. Somebody said, I'll get to the music in a second, friends, but just give me a second here. Somebody said on the Facebook group that, because I posted, hey, it's going to be raining, and would it be, and after the rain, would it be ideal to go hunt mushrooms? And somebody said, well, I find mushrooms all the time up in where you are, and you got to go over 4,000 feet. So I drove around on Friday looking for high ground, driving all by myself because my wife was putting another fucking dog down, which I didn't want any part of it. So I went up driving while that was happening, and I went up trying to find high ground. So I went up a mountain, went as far as I could go. I did not. As far as I could go was only like 2,700 feet. So it wasn't high enough to find morels, but I went in the woods and started looking for mushrooms, and I found one mushroom, which was and I posted, and I looked on the book, and it said it was called a bolete, and they're supposedly edible, and I posted a picture of it on the mushroom identification group, and somebody said, yeah, it's an edible bolete. It's a bolete Rexus something or other. I don't know. I'm afraid to eat the motherfucker, but it's a good eating. But I have it sitting in my kitchen drying out down here in the Mountain House, and somebody else said, well, dry it out and you can shave it on your food and it makes really good seasoning. So maybe I'll do that. I'm still scared to eat a mushroom that I find in the woods, but so anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, because it's raining. So after the rains, I'm going to go driving. I'm going to go find where it's like 5,000 feet, and I'm going to go searching for some morels. It's supposed to rain today and tomorrow. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. Why don't we play a song, and then we'll get on to whatever. I don't really have much to talk about. I figured, but if I'm sitting here in the Mountain House in the rain, I might as well just do a rock and roll geek show. I have one planned for later on this week. It's going to be a bonus episode. Handsome Dick Manitoba wants to come on and rebuff Andy Chernoff, which I know a lot of people do not want to hear. But I'm going to try to keep it into more of the music. And I like Handsome Dick Manitoba, so he's welcome on the show anytime. I'm going to try to steer it away from the Andy Chernoff bad-mouthing, but I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. But I'm going to have him on probably Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. All right, let's play a song. I'm going to start off with something that was sent to me from Sandy Hyde, who is one of the frequent posters on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, which I did not create, but I do approve people. You just got to send it. You just got to answer 2 questions. So I know you're not a conspiracy theorist thinking that the Corova is a 5G, whatever. Anyway, he got a band called Dirtbag Republic, and they recorded this song during the lockdown, and it is called. I played this on the last episode of Mad at Dad because I'm in charge of the music, but I never say what song it is after I play it. So what the song I opened up the show with was this song. It's from Dirtbag Republic. Sandy Hyde sent it to me, and the song is called Pandemic Blues, and I like it a lot. Here you go.
It's the number of the beast or a god.
There you go. Pandemic Blues, Dirtbag Republic. Thank you, Sandy Hyde, for sending me that. I really appreciate it, friend. Oh, one more thing. I was walking the dogs back on the mushrooms, just really quick. Walking the dogs this morning. We go up the hill sometimes, and we decided to go up the hill today. And on the way down, I found another mushroom. It was like all intact. I don't know how I'm spotting these things, but I'm looking down at the ground a lot. And I pulled this up, and this one is called an Amarita villosa or something like that. Everybody, when they ID because I post on hey, what is this mushroom? And then I look at it on the in my book, and they will post the Latin names of them. And they said this one's an Amarita villosa, which there is another kind of Amarita that is extremely poisonous, like deadly poisonous. Like you eat it 12 and it tastes fine and everything, and then 12 hours later you start having kidney failure, and then you start getting better, and then the next day you get sick again, and when the next day you're dead. You're going to die within hours or minutes. So I'm not going to eat this, but it supposedly is really edible, but yeah, I ain't gonna try it. Not until I have an expert with me. I will eat them. I will eat the morels if I find them, but I ain't eating anything else unless I have a mushroom expert look at it in person and takes a taste with me. So there you go. All right, let's go to the donor segment, shall we? I got a couple audio comments to play and some other things, and I don't know what we're gonna do here. We'll see. There may be a bonus episode. I don't know, but. Thank you, everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Oh, rest in peace, the great Little Richard, the queen of rock and roll, died on May 9th, which was just 2 days ago at age 87. I don't think he died of Corova, although if he had a sniffle, they probably would have said he died of Corova. So, but one of the architects of rock and roll, the great Jerry Lee Lewis. So while I'm thanking the people who donate, let's find some Little Richard here. I'm playing this from the Amazon Music. My internet is very limited up here. I'm doing a hotspot on my phone to the computer, and I want to use the computer as least as possible because I use all my hotspot data up like in hours, and then I have then I won't be able to upload the show. So let's find some music here about just. Here's Little Richard. We'll find that in the background. All right. I'll turn it down. All right. Thank you, everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. In this tough time, friends, I need your donations now more than ever. Thank you again to the anonymous donor for the Mountain House computer and the anonymous donor for the money for the RODECASTER. You are a godsend. Thank you to Dave Slusher again for the $200. Oh, shit. All right. I have the plumber coming over, so I am going to pause this. Oh, I got to tell you about the plumber, too. But I'm going to pause this, and when the plumber comes back, when the plumber gets done, I will come back up and we'll finish the show, okay? All right. All right. I am back. I apologize for that. The plumber had to come by. So the water up here in the Mountain House, if you're interested, does not come from a well, and it does not come from the city. It comes from the river, which is down the hill. So we have these two big, huge tanks that are up on the hill behind our house. That's on the borderline of BLM, which is Bureau of Land Management land. Behind my house, there's acres and acres and acres of public land where it's legal to hunt on and all that stuff. So right there's two big tanks. A pipe goes from those two tanks underground all the way across the road down into the river, and there's a pump down at the bottom, and it pumps the water up from the river into these tanks. And there's a switch in the barn where you turn the switch on. This country living, I love it, man. I fucking love it. And there's a switch on in the barn, but here's the part I don't love. And the switch turns the pump on, and it sucks the water up into those tanks, and that's how you get the water into your house. And you know it's full because it'll overflow the tanks, and it'll shoot out this little creek we have that goes by in our yard. And when the water's coming out of there, you know the tanks are full. So when I got here, I noticed it was taking a long, long time for these tanks to fill up, and I'm thinking, oh shit, is my pump broken? And the pump is submerged in the river, and the river is like a rapids river. I mean, if you go down there, you're gonna probably drown. You try to replace that pump or anything. So I had to call the plumbers, and these guys are experts in all this shit, and they came to look at it. So we have not got it fixed yet, but I think we have it narrowed down to maybe the switch is not right or something. So there you go. I am back. All right. Where were we? We were on the donation. Thank you, everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Rest in peace, Little Richard. The queen of rock and roll died 2 days ago at age 87. Not of the Corova, but who knows? Might just say he had the Corova. All right, let's find some Little Richard to play in the background here. How about, well, I was going to play Tutti. I had Tutti Frutti. Let's go to something not so generic. All right, here we go. All right, thank you, friends, for donating to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Thank you to the anonymous donor who bought the Mountain House computer that I'm using right now and that paid for the RODECASTER that I'm using right now. Thank you, anonymous donor. Thank you, Dave Slusher, for the $200 cash and the $100 Australian. And he also is doing, like I told you, he's doing the, if anybody donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show $100, Dave Slusher will send you a Mad at Dad portable bidet, free of charge. Well, you got to pay $100 to the Rock and Roll Geek Show, but that's helping the show, friends. Also, thank you to the anonymous donor who donated $100. Thank you to where are we here? Okay, yes. Thank you and you can also donate on Patreon. I'm a little bit out of it here. Now the plumber's got me all frazzled. Let me take another sip of this fine Tecate. Thank you to the people who donated on Patreon. Patreon.com/RNRGeek. Kirk Crawford, $12.77. Thank you, Joseph Coyne, for the $10. Thank you, Dan Gerawan, $10. Thank you to Tim Schall, $10. Thank you to my bodyguard, Joe Pawlak, $6.66. Thanks to Dave Slusher, my podcast mentor and co-host of Mad at Dad, for the $5.55. Thank you to Anthony Justice, new donor, longtime friend of the show, new donor Anthony Justice, $5 an episode. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Rodney Cross, for the $5. Thanks to John Boveri, $5. Thanks to Grant Farquhar, $5. Jamie Jefford, $5. Marcia York, $5. Thank you to Brad Shick, $5. Mike Brown, one of my oldest friends in the world, $5 every episode. Thank you to Betty Wood, $5. Michael Street, my good friend Michael Street, and friend of the show, $5. Thank you to Brian Springer, $5. Thank you to Chiaki Hinohara of the Metal Moment podcast and Japanese Metalhead Show, $5 every episode. Thank you to Robert Harvey, $5. Ken Kennedy, $5. Derek Coward of Comic Book Noise, $3. Thank you to Chad Burns for the $2.50. Paul Roub, $2.25. Adrian Boschan. Boss Rock on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group, which I did not create, but I do approve. People just got to answer 2 questions so that I know you are not a conspiracy theorist thinking that Hillary Clinton is behind this Corova. Oh, what else we got here in the background?
I can't believe you want to leave.
Thank you to Patrick Shanahan for the $2. Thank you to Metaldan, $2. By the way, I got a message from Metaldan, which I will read later on in the show. Thank you to Bruce McMillan, $2. Mike Dixon, $2. Eric Stowell, $2. Mathew Hunt, $2. Paul Underwood, maker of Underwood's Fine Barbecue Sauce, $2. And thank you, Amy Bowen, Arnie Stash, 3 Legs, 4 Wheels, Bondstone, John Richardson, and Corey Kohler for the $1 on Patreon. Also, you can donate on PayPal. The following people, pardon me, I'm burping, I'm gagging on this fine Tecate. The following people took Dave Slusher up on his bidet offer. Adam Brichet, $100. Michael Cranston, $100. Jonathan Travers, my boy Jonathan Travers, $100. Thank you to Brian Springer, $100. John Morgan, $100. Dan Gerawan, $100. And finally, Rodney Cross, $100. All of those people got a bidet, Mad at Dad bidet, that says reset the clock on it. A little parched. I had to take a sip of fine Tecate. Also, anonymous donor was doing a dollar for dollar match. If anybody donated $50, he would match them for $50. The following people donated $50 and got matched by this anonymous donor. Kirk Crawford donated $50. Then Kirk Crawford donated another $50. Benjamin Muller donated $50. Then Kirk Crawford donated another $50. Then Michael Street donated $50. Then Kirk Crawford donated $25. Richard Fusey, $25. Or it could be Fusey, I'm not sure. Elodie Johns, my first girlfriend, $20. Douglas Free, $20. James Benners, $10. Todd Cunningham, $10. Find what else can we find from Little Richard here? I like Jenny. This is probably my favorite. Not an authority on Little Richard, the queen of rock and roll. Thank you to Douglas Free, $20. James Venners, $10. Todd Cunningham, friend of the show, $10. BJ Lisco, $10. Ralph Miller, $10. Friend of mine and friend of the show. Jason Shepard, friend of the show, $10. Jeff and Sherry Thielke, $10. Dave Jackson and the School of Podcasting, $10. Daniel Segan, $10. Chris Atherton, $10. Dave Franco, $10. Dick
Schuit.
$10. Dick
Schuit.
$10. Christopher Del Grande. Pardon me. Christopher Del Grande, $5. And happy birthday to you, Christopher Del Grande. Dale Roller, $5. Gerald Carroll, $5. Robert Giglio, $5. Richard Strom, $5. Andrew Howell, $5. Sigmund Heidacher, $5. Benjamin Muller, $5. John Tennis, $5. Greg Long, $5. Brett Garsky, $5. Richard Fusey, or Fusey, $5. Eric Lentz, $5. Michael Williams, $5. Peter Spark, $5. Robert Johnson, Robert Scott, $5. Blake Johnson, $5. John Offenloch, $5. William Moffitt, $2. Lassie Satvenhagen, $2. Bradford Page, $2. Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name, $2. Richard Fusey, another $2. Jason Wendleton, $2. And Robert Giglio, $2. Thank you to everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show, because without your donations, this show would die horrible, putrid, stench-filled, drowning in the river trying to change a pump kind of death. All right. Take a sip of this fine Tecate to everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This time, now more than ever, friends. By the way, my stimulus check, it got sent to a bank account that no longer exists. So good job, IRS. So now I need your money more than ever, friends. Your donations are keeping me alive. All right, I got a couple of audio comments. Let's see. Let's find my audio comments here. Yada da 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 da. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. All right. Here we go.
Michael Butler, this is JB in Dallas.
Hey, JB.
Calling with a voice comment from day whatever of the pandemic.
Yes.
I'm over this.
You are,
but I hope you're healthy and safe.
So far, so good, friend.
In fact, how are you doing, Michael?
I am super great. Couldn't be better. Got a little fever, a little respiratory infection, and can't breathe. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine. I'm super great. Couldn't be better, JB. They had their first case of Corova testing positive in Trinity County here, and everybody's panicking now. Back to you, JB.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Hope you have a Tecate or something close by, because I'd like to do a toast with you.
Let's do
I
it.
myself am about to enjoy a Bitter Sisters Busybody Blonde Lager.
Okay, and I'll take a sip of Tecate.
Here's to you, Michael.
Here's to you, JB.
Good stuff. Okay, so haven't called in a while.
Yes, I've been missing you.
And just wanted to comment first. I think I heard you guys say on one of your previous shows about the ZZ Top documentary.
Yes, I talked
the
about
little
it.
band from Texas. I did see that. I highly recommend it to anyone
Very
else
good,
out there,
very
any
good.
other fans or friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I actually had the good fortune to see a premiere of it here in Dallas, Texas, at the historic Texas Theater, which is, for any history buffs out there, that's the theater that they captured Lee Harvey Oswald after the shooting of JFK. So kind of creepy when you're in there, but it's cool to see that documentary there. It's really, really entertaining. Pretty funny too. In fact, I think Frank Beard kind of steals the whole
Frank Beard is great.
show. So
And
anyway,
I enjoy, like I said before, I enjoy the part where Frank Beard is drinking a drink out of a Yeti koozie, or it's either a Yeti or it could be a Walmart knockoff. I'm going to guess it's a Yeti though.
I just want to second that endorsement. Also, this idea of the doing show reviews of old concerts. In fact, that was the reason I wanted to call in. And in fact, I just wanted to say that was actually my idea.
Thank you, JB. I appreciate that.
It's
a good idea.
I'm on Facebook as the name is JS Skulls, even though I call in as JB from Dallas. Previously used to call in as JB from Las Vegas. I don't do a lot of social media, so I don't put my real name out there.
Okay, well, good thinking.
Nothing mysterious about that or nothing. I'm not on the run or anything.
Especially now, other than going to the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group and the Mushroom Hunters groups and things like that, it's best to just Dave Slusher and I were talking. If wish there was a way you could just make it where all you can see is the groups, because everybody posting their theories about the Corova and who's responsible with this. It's just exhausting, man.
Anyway, so I'm going to throw that idea out there, and I just thought it might be interesting, since it sucks right now that we can't see any shows. I thought it might be fun to have people call in.
I think it's a great idea. I love it.
Either their very first concert or one of their favorite concerts, or something that's notable about the concert, noteworthy. Something from the pre-Rock and Roll Geek days, maybe. But anyway, I decided to throw that out there on the Rock and Roll Geek group, of which I know you did not create, but you do approve to keep out any, coronavirus, impeachment, Ukrainian, whatever. Right, and we appreciate you keeping us all safe.
Keep out the riff. We got to.
You're a true American hero.
I am.
So
Thank you.
Here's to you.
Hey,
for
man,
that.
I sacrifice for you, friends.
I decided to call in with. I can't say this is one of the best concerts I ever saw, but I'm calling in because it was extremely noteworthy, at least at the time. And I think historically it is also in rock and roll history.
Oh, good.
And it involves some bands I know, Michael, that you're not huge fans of, but I think some of the friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show out there were fans of these bands. I'm going to take you back and kind of set the scene. This would have been in the summer of 1992.
Okay, well that must be the grunge era. So this could be like a grunge festival.
Think about how long ago that was.
Maybe it could be Lollapalooza.
Had recently graduated high school, and me and my buddies who were rock and roll geeks, and we liked rock music and we liked concerts. We were just blown away, absolutely blown away, when they announced that Guns N' Roses and Metallica were going to go on a double headlining stadium tour across the United States.
That's the one where Axl Rose was refusing to play for a long. It was disasters, from what I heard.
Now, those of you who might be younger listeners out there maybe don't realize how huge of a deal that was.
Don't worry, there's no younger listeners on this. I don't think. But you never know, maybe.
I mean, for me and my friends.
By the way, if you are a young listener of the Rock and Roll Geek Show, send me an email, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Let me know how old you are. Put it in the subject line that, hey, I'm one of the young listeners, Butler, and go fuck yourself. Put that in the subject line.
That would have been like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin going on the stadium double headlining tour together. It seemed like a kind of an odd pairing at the time.
Two top bands.
Metallica was much more known at that time as a straight up thrash metal band. Guns N' Roses more of the traditional rock and roll band, but of course they had really reached the height of their popularity that year because the Black album had just recently come out. Guns N' Roses had done the Use Your Illusion albums. Guns N' Roses was in the news every night. Axl Rose was in the news all the time, and it was just such a massive deal. When they made the announcement, and the opening act was going to be Faith No More, who had gained some notoriety at that time. They were starting to get a little popular nationwide. But as some of you may recall, the original opening act for that tour was supposed to be Nirvana, but they backed out. They claimed at the time it was because they didn't agree with some of the lyrics from Guns N' Roses, treatment of women or whatever.
Oh, brother. Yeah, that was what was wrong with the grunge thing. The fake political correctness. But yeah, back to you, JB.
It came out later is really because Kurt Cobain was just smacked out of his mind on heroin at that time, so it couldn't have done the tour anyway. But I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, we were super stoked about this concert, and we were all weary, a little leery about whether we'd be able to afford to go to this thing or not. And but we went. This is pre internet.
I'm gonna guess maybe tickets were $100.
Couldn't get on. You had to go wait in line to get your tickets, and
Good
we
old
forked
days.
over the massive amount, as I recall. I think I still have the stub somewhere. The massive amount of $27.50.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? $27.50. Is that what he said?
Guns N' Roses and Metallica on a co-headlining tour, which I can't even imagine. For in today's dollars, how much that ticket cost would be. Just amazes me that we were able to go to that. Anyway, the excitement was huge. And at that time, again, no internet, no setlist.fm. You didn't know what the setlist was. You didn't know. There was no YouTube.
The good old days.
There was always just
surprises.
The mystery of what you were going to see when you go.
And when when I was going to show, you can't go to shows anymore now, but I refused to look at Setlist FM before or whatever it was. I refused to know the set list before the show because I wanted to be surprised. And if the show got a little bit long, I would, when I was starting to get tired or something, if it was a show that I didn't love, then I would pull up Setlist FM about 2/3 of the way through and see how long we had to go. If I was getting tired, wanted to get out of it. Bands I wanted to see, I like to be surprised.
Anyway, me and my buddies scored these tickets, and we were going to go see them. It was going to be like the third or fourth show of the tour, and it's going to be at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, which no longer exists. It was where the Indianapolis Colts used to play at that time. It's later called the RCA Dome. It's been torn down now, but it was one of those big old football stadiums with like the bubble roof, And it was July 22nd, 1992. And so me and about six of us, I think, we all piled up in our cars. It was like a 3-hour trip to Indianapolis from our hometown. And our group was kind of split. It was like half Guns N' Roses fans, half hardcore Metallica fans. And so I was kind of in the Guns N' Roses part of that at that time. I've since now have become a huge, lifelong, I guess, Metallica fan. But at that time, I was much more familiar with Guns N' Roses than I was Metallica. And so, half of the group was like, I don't know if we really want to see Guns N' Roses. And the other half of the group was like, I don't want to see Metallica. But we were also excited because it was such a huge event. And, how it is when you're a kid, right? You're looking forward to this thing all summer.
Oh, yeah.
You're out of school. And then sure as shit, like, if I recall, a week or two before that tour was supposed to start, Axl Rose got arrested for like an outstanding warrant from that riot in St. Louis. And we were just crushed. We were like, oh my God,
they canceled?
This concert we look forward to all year was going to be canceled. And then anyway, they worked out some deal and he was able to go on the tour. So we traveled to this concert, and again, just set the scene. Those of you who remember back in the day, right? It was like it's hot summertime. Girls are like wearing short shorts and halter tops, and
Good old days.
people, you had to wait in line forever to get into
man, when I used to go to concerts in the summer in Florida, the girls would be wearing bikinis outside in these concerts. Like when the stadiums, like Florida World Music Festival, I saw the Who in same place in Orlando, and girls walking around bikinis all day. Good times. When you're a little runt kid, seeing these hot chicks in bikinis. Oh yeah.
to the venue, and people were drunk.
I sound like a pervert. Oh yeah.
People were puking, and I miss that
good
excitement
times.
of
Puking.
concerts from that time.
Yes, good times.
We finally get in.
By the way, done my share of puking.
Seats.
Did Placidils at the Kiss concert, Rock and Roll Over tour. Did Placidils in Boone's Farm. I puked before the show. Oh yeah, and the Boston concert, puking down the front of my shirt with a girl under my arm.
They're not bad seats. They were kind of lower bowl, but still far away from the stage. But still, It's a massive stage, and it was just. I think about the excitement of those days. There's hot chicks everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one of my friends he's kind of a straight and narrow type guy back then.
Nerd.
We all take our seats, and he said he's got to go around the restroom, and he goes to the restroom, and he comes back, and he's wearing he took like a bandana and tied it up like a do-rag on his head.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought, it's like, all right, whatever, dude. I guess you're a rock and roller now, whatever. So anyway,
you gotta look cool.
We take our seats, and eventually the lights go down, and the first act of Faith No More, again, they had a huge hit at that time.
You want it all, but you can't have it.
For me and my friends, none of us were really familiar with Faith No More at that time. Obviously, Faith No More, I know now Faith No More as a band had been around for a while with a different singer, but this was kind of the later version of it. And they came out, and I pulled up. I did find the set list, and to be honest, most of these songs I don't even know them. But Caffeine, Death March, Land of Sunshine,
Don't know any of them.
The Real Thing, Midlife Crisis, which was kind of a middle hit for them at that time, and I actually liked that song a lot, so that was pretty cool. RV, Surprise You're Dead, We Care a Lot, which
We Care a Lot. That's the rap version
of that song now, but I was not familiar with that song at all at that time. I know that's from the first version of Faith No More, but
different singer.
It just went right over my head back then. I don't know, we were probably looking at the chicks, weren't even paying attention.
Exactly.
And I remember the dome,
those
old domes, the light came through. So I remember it was still like, even though we were inside, it was still like a daylight type concert. Then a song called Jizzlobber, I'm not familiar with that. And then, of course, they played Epic, which that got everyone excited. And I still have a funny memory of them playing that because there's a part in that song where kind of like the guitar riff really kicks in. And I can remember just seeing like 60,000 mullets and long hair all banging their head at the same time. You got to remember, this is Indiana in the late 80s.
By the way, I lived in Indianapolis for a short period of time when I was in Stevie Sletto in Broad Ripple. Oh, yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s Indiana. We were pretty redneckish, Midwest rednecks. So anyway, they go down, they're off, so now we got to wait for the set change for Metallica. Now, again, I know Metallica almost backwards and forwards now, but then I was just kind of a marginal fan. Metallica was on this huge upswing of popularity, but this was also when they were pissing off a lot of the original fans because the Black Album was considered too radio friendly, and you could sense that amongst some of the Metallica fans in the crowd. There were some guys we were talking that were biased that were just like, they were basically like, oh, we're going to sit down every time they play a song from the Black Album because that's not the real Metallica and all that type of stuff.
They felt like they lost their band. That's what happens when your band gets popular. You feel like people say, oh, they sold out. They didn't really sell out. They just a lot more people started liking them. And then, but you feel like they were your band, and now the masses have discovered them. So they're no longer yours. I understand the feeling, but it's not the band selling out.
But my buddies who were huge Metallica fans, they were going to like walk me through it. They were going to be able to tell me all the songs, and they were actually kind of
educate
a little nervous themselves that it was going to be too much of the Black Album. But they came out, and I found their set list also.
Good.
And they came out to Creeping Death, and I can still remember that my Metallica friends were just ecstatic.
Which, by the way, I saw them on that tour. They played the Oakland Coliseum in Faith No More Open, by the way. That was when I had just gotten into Exodus. And we were, you know, we were a Bill Graham managed band, and it was a Bill Graham production. So we got all access, hanging out backstage. We see Metallica walking around, and the rest of I don't remember, it was a bunch of bands, like a Day on the Green type thing. But yeah, it was a good time.
That they played Creeping Death because they were worried they were going to come out to Enter Sandman or something like that. Creeping Death, Harvester of Sorrow, Fade to Black, Sad But True.
Sad but true. I can't sing Metallica songs because I don't know all their tunes, but by name. But
Wherever I May Roam.
Wherever I May Roam.
Wolf and Man. For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Whom the bell tolls.
Forgiven. I know you're not.
And I know me unforgiven. Nah. Back it up here.
Creeping Death, and I can still remember that my Metallica friends were just ecstatic that they played Creeping Death because they were worried they were going to come out to Enter Sandman or something like that. Creeping Death, Harvester of Sorrow, Fade to Black, Sad But True, Wherever I May Roam, Of Wolf and Man, For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Unforgiven. I know you're not a big Metallica fan, Butler, but hey, feel free to sing along.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
The Unforgiven, The Shortest Straw, which I remember my friend being super excited about that, and I do love that song, so that was cool. Then there was a bass solo and a guitar solo. I remember the guitar solo, there was it had some pretty cool effects with some green flames going up on the stage. Let's see, Welcome Home Sanitarium,
Sanitarium,
Puppets, Seek and Destroy, and then Whiplash. And then they came back for the encore of Nothing Else Matters. I remember those two old school Metallica fans in front of us were so pissed when they started doing that. I remember they would pretend like they were dancing around like they were ballerinas or something during that, and making fun of it. But,
I mean, just as heavy as all the other Metallica, really. I mean,
then they played Am I Evil, which is great. Last Caress, a Misfits cover, which my buddies were also huge Misfits fans, so they love that. One. And then they came out for a second encore, which of course was Enter Sandman. Of course, you know, at that point you could see, it was funny because you could see the Guns N' Roses fans were singing along to the Black Album songs, but they weren't singing along to some of the older songs. Sure. That was kind of that dichotomy.
And then all the Metallica fans probably left for Guns N' Roses. Between the
two crowds. Metallica was great. I became a fan basically that, and I became a huge fan that night. There's been a lot of stories about that tour from then on, and I remember hearing a lot of quotes from Metallica, but that their plan on that tour was to basically just go, if I recall, Hetfield had a quote once that we were going to grab the Guns N' Roses fans by the throat and make them, and basically kind of punish them because they knew it was kind of a weird matchup of a tour. Okay, so now they're done. They leave. The lights come back up. And now, if any of you have a memory of that tour, there was
I'm guessing that it was probably 2 hours before they came on.
An hour to hour and a half, at minimum, between Metallica and Guns N' Roses. Part of it was because they did a complete stage changeover. And the other half of it was because at that time, Guns N' Roses was notorious for being late to the stage. Now, I remember me and my buddies, we used to always call it, when we go to concerts, rock and roll time. And you don't see it much anymore. And again, this is one of the things I kind of miss from the good old days of going to concerts was nobody was ever on time, man. Everybody always came out late. It's always the mystery of when will the lights go down. Now it seems like everything's run like clockwork.
That's right, yeah.
That takes some of the fun out of it. But anyway, maybe the best part of the whole night was when they were changing on the stage, they had this long time, so people were going to get beers and stuff. They had these huge video screens, obviously, on each side of the stage.
Well,
and so what they were doing was the cameramen were just
tits.
Zooming in on people in the crowd. And of course, as cameramen will do, they were zooming in on all the hot chicks, right?
Boobies.
And so people would cheer as different hot chicks would get up there, and sure as shit, what would eventually happen?
Their top off.
Some girl would lift her shirt.
Uh-huh.
Then, you zoom into another girl, she would lift her shirt, right? And then all these girls over here are going to lift up their skirts. And then it just became they were trying to
The good old days, man. They don't do that
outdo
anymore.
each other. And pretty soon, it's just basically a big TNA show for an
Oh,
hour. It
love
was
it.
great, especially for us. It's like freaking, 18-year-old kids, whatever we were at that time, 19. And I can still remember when the lights went down for Guns N' Roses, there was almost a feeling of disappointment because I think we were, because girls were
I'd
starting
rather
to kiss
look at
each
the
other and stuff.
tits.
I mean,
Ooh,
it was about to go full on
turned
madness.
into debauchery.
But then the lights went down, and then here's the thing I'll never forget: the lights went down for Guns N' Roses to come out. It was 10 minutes to midnight.
Yeah,
Now,
and
they
the
were
curfew's probably 11:30.
both playing Metallica and Guns N' Roses were both playing. I think Metallica played like 2.5, 3 hours. So like, and
And getting out
now
of there
with
before
Guns N' Roses going to come
2:30.
out, they were known for playing 2.5, 3 hours, and it's freaking almost midnight now, and we're like 3 hours from our hometown yet. So we're like, holy crap! Lights go down. Guns N' Roses comes out. Now this is the Guns N' Roses version. Izzy Stradlin had already left, and Gilby Clark is in the band now, and Matt Solom's on drums now. But it was still, they were at the height of their popularity. And again, I don't want to sound like a geek here, but the excitement at that time, like, I don't think people realize now what like Guns N' Roses, especially Axl Rose. I remember me and my buddies were like, we can't believe we're in the same room as Axl Rose right now. I mean, it's a room with 70,000 people in it, but, it just seems
We're
so,
breathing
everything was
his
so
air,
mysterious back then.
man.
He comes out, and again, I got to take everybody back in time here. This is 1992.
Wearing the
He
was he wearing the catcher's outfit?
comes out, and he's wearing this long T-shirt which covered up his shorts. It looked like he was wearing no pants. I remember the guy in front of me was like, "Hey, that boy needs to put some pants on." But he's got this long white T-shirt on, and it's got a picture of Mike Tyson on it, and it says "Free Mike" underneath his photo. Now, for those of you who may not be aware,
that was when he was in jail.
1992, Mike Tyson was in prison in Indiana
Raping
for
Robin
rape.
Givens. Oh, he was in Indiana.
And
I did not know that.
it's not, the image of Mike Tyson at that time is not the image that he is now, where everybody kind of likes him. He almost seems kind of cuddly. He was kind of like public enemy number one, and he was kind of like what people think of like Jeffrey Epstein now. Like, he was considered just a scumbag. And for Axl Rose to come out wearing a shirt that says "Free Mike," and I remember he made some comment at one point. Between songs, he was like, "Hey, you like my shirt?" And he was like, "I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm not also not saying I believe any word that fucking bitch said or whatever."
Oh, see, those were the good old days when bands weren't afraid to stir shit up. Now everybody's so worried about offending somebody. At least Axl Rose. I mean, I'm not a big Axl Rose fan, but at least he was trying to, trying to do something.
Anyway, couple other. I'll run through the set list. I did find that set list too. I'll run through that real quick. Okay. But a couple other comments from that concert. I mean, as a huge Guns N' Roses fan at that time, I thought it was wonderful. But there was some things. Axl Rose absolutely berated the crowd almost for like between the first 4 or 5 songs, just calling us everything in the book. And he's from Indiana.
Pussies.
And it made a lot of news because he said he compared us to being prisoners in Auschwitz, and he was bagging on the state of Indiana as like an institution. But like it was getting a little old after a while.
Believe me, I'd rather be. I've been in Los Angeles. I've lived in San Francisco. I've lived in Indianapolis. Of the 3, of LA, San Francisco, and Indiana, and I've lived in New York for a short period of time. I liked New York a lot, but of San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Indianapolis, I choose Indianapolis.
And he would also, at that point, whenever there were in the song, when there would be like a guitar, when Slash would play a guitar solo, he would run backstage, and then he wouldn't come out until right before he had to sing again. So it was like every song he would leave, and he wouldn't come back until it was time for him to sing again. He did that
drugs,
every song.
Drug time.
There was also, every song seemed like they had to have these long intros and these long outros, and I think that was just because they were killing time while Axl was doing something. My buddies who were the Metallica fans were really getting annoyed with it, and they really weren't having a good time. And I remember when they played November Rain, one of my buddies fell asleep.
I'm surprised that Metallica fans
He had
didn't
the
leave.
honor of having said he fell asleep at a Metallica Guns N' Roses concert. But anyway, here's the set list for Guns N' Roses.
Okay, all right.
Maybe not so much for you, Michael, but for some of the
I'm going to
listeners.
try to sing them.
They came out to Night Train, Mr. Brown.
I'm on a night train. You've been dancing with Mr. Brown.
It's so easy.
It's so easy when everybody try to please my baby. You ain't got nothing to do with I'm really bored.
Live and Let Die. Added.
Live and let die. What was it before that? I'm backing up just a bit here. Okay.
It's so easy. Live and Let Die. Attitude and Misfits cover.
Don't know that.
Double
one.
Talk and Jive. Civil War.
I don't need no Civil War.
Bad Obsession.
I don't know that one.
Patience.
Just a little patience. I've been walking the street tonight.
Which they did a little intro of Wild Horses, Rolling Stone songs.
Wild horses. Okay.
Horses. Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
Matt Sorum did a drum solo. I'm not a big
Here's Matt Sorum. He's going to play the drums for you.
fan of drum solos, but I remember his being actually very impressive. You Could Be Mine.
You could be mine.
Slash did a guitar solo.
He's pissed off and his name is Slash.
November Rain.
In the cold November rain.
That's when my buddy fell asleep.
Yeah, I would have too.
This next song is a good moment about how it was so cool to be able to go to a concert without knowing what the set list was or knowing what not saying
Sweet
anything on
Child.
YouTube. So you wouldn't be able to do this now because you know this was coming, but Axl just took the microphone and sang a little bit of Sail Away Sweet Sister, Queen song, kind of a cappella. Then he sang a little bit of Bad Time by Grand Funk Railroad, and then a little bit of song The One by Elton John. And as soon as he hit like a long
And
run,
I don't know any of those three tunes.
the main riff to Sweet Child of Mine kicked in. It was so cool. And that's something I don't think you would be as cool now, because you would have known about it now.
Yeah.
You would have heard about that, that type of setup. And then they close out the main set with Knock on Heaven's Door.
Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Hi. All right.
Then they came back for the encore.
By the way,
Strength.
with the subject, rock and roll geek at gmail.com with the subject line, Butler, quit singing. You're annoying the shit out of us all, please.
Changed Yesterday's, Don't Cry, and they actually
Oh, wait a minute. Don't. Oh, fuck it.
brought out Shannon Hoon that night.
We're going to bring out our boy Shannon Hoon to sing Don't Cry.
Hoon, who was in the band
From Blind Melon.
Also from Indiana. He came out and sang that with them, which was kind of cool. And I remember about that time after that, Axl Rose actually apologized for all the stuff he said earlier and said something
I'm sorry for calling you guys bad. I'm sorry for bad mouthing your town.
about it was good to be back in Indiana.
It's good to be back.
By that point, a lot of people had actually left too.
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
Metallica fans.
It's 2:30 in the morning.
I'm not shitting you, Mike. It was like fucking 3:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
and they were finally playing Paradise City.
And you got to that show at probably 4:00 in the afternoon, and it's 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning already. Come on.
Fantastic.
And your kids.
And I remember actually at one point looking around and seeing there's probably still 50,000 people there. And they were all standing and just jumping along and singing along. And everyone was tired, but it did say a lot about where Guns N' Roses was as a band at that time. It's not the same anymore, but that they could still get the crowd that into it that late in the evening after that long of a concert. Concert ends, fucking 3:00 in the morning. We had a 3-hour drive back. But again, when you're 18, 19, it's summertime, right? Good times.
Yeah, except for the guy who's driving.
One final thing. So that's my show review. I hope you enjoy those, Michael.
I
hope
love
you think
them.
That's a good idea. I hope the other friends.
Listen, I don't know if the friends of this rock and roll listeners are enjoying it, but I like them. So please, friends, keep them coming. Keep them coming, please.
enjoy it. I've loved listening to some of the ones you've also got because it takes me back to a time maybe that either I wasn't around yet or wasn't old enough yet, or concerts I just didn't have the money or the time to go to. So I hope we can keep doing that until we get some real fucking concerts that we can all
They
go
never
to.
happened.
One thing I do want to mention, your Ted Nugent interview, I loved it.
Thank you,
I
friend.
love all your Ted Nugent, the interviews you've done. I love it when you review his albums. I love it when you do the show reviews of Ted Nugent. I've seen Ted Nugent in concert. I think you're one of the only ones out there who gets it, Mike. You look past all the bullshit and
Yes.
recognize him for the guitar player he is. I get tired of some of his silliness too, but man, goddamn, the guy's a badass.
He is.
So,
and keep in mind, he is outspoken like that because he likes getting a rise out of people. And if you really listen through the bullshit, through his rhetoric, I mean, the stuff he talks about hunting and eating meat, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, yeah, whatever. If you don't agree with his politics, that's one thing. But he's just basically trying to get a rise out of people. And like I said, he does not care what people thinks about him. And to me, that's rock and roll.
I'm going to put this out there. I want to put all the good feelings out there. And I hope all the other rock and roll geek friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show put the good feelings. Everyone raise your hands and put your good feelings out there.
My hands are up.
That our friend Michael gets his wish and gets his dream to spend an entire day with Uncle Ted.
Yes.
Hunting all day, cooking, eating, and jamming all night. Oh. I hope that comes true for you, Michael. I really do. You deserve that more than anyone else.
Thank you. Which, by the way, I have not gotten the nerve up to email his manager and ask and remind her. So I got to do that.
If you keep us updated, if there's something that, even if it means, a donation to Ted's charity and you want us to, we do a GoFundMe or we kick in some money, whatever it takes to make that happen. I want to put all those good vibes out there for you.
Thank you, friend.
Okay. Hey, that was kind of long. Sorry, but hope you're staying safe and well. I want you to stay healthy. And, of course, stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
Take care.
Thank you, JB. You, too, can leave me a show review of a show you went to in your youth. Let's have some stuff from the 70s. That would be really cool. Come on, friends. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. I like hearing them, so please bring them. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All right, I'm going to play a song now, and while this song is playing, I'm going to go piss off the balcony of my little studio up here. My studio is up on the hill behind it. It's separated from the house up here in the mountains, and I can look down. When I'm pissing off the balcony, I can look down on my garden down the hill and see all my vegetables growing, and they are growing great. I got potatoes. Everything's full on growing. It grows. Things seem like they grow like an inch a day here in the garden. So, all right, let's play something by Michael Grant and the Assassins. Michael Grant was the guitar player for L.A. Guns at one point in the L.A. Guns. He was the guy who wore he was a Filipino dude, and he's a good-looking guy. He used to play in a band called Endeavor After, which when I was working at Mevio and Pod Show, I got Endeavor After on the network, and I remember watching their videos a lot. And they had some pretty good tunes. Then he went to with L.A. Guns, and they just fired him just out of the blue. Once Tracy Guns came back, they sent him a letter saying you're out of the band, or their road manager or something called him and said he was out of the band. Well, anyway, he's got a new album coming out. It's called Michael Grant and the Assassins. I get this sent to me from Frontiers Music. On the making of the album is called, Frontiers Music is thrilled to announce the upcoming release of Always the Villain, the debut album from Michael Grant and the Assassins on July 10th, 2020. They play a diverse and exciting brand of hard rock music incorporating elements from alternative rock and metal while exploring different textures, genres, blah, 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 blah. Band mastermind Michael Grant, who plays all the instruments on the album, creates a sound that is intense, heavily melodic, and anthemic. The first single and music video, Red Light Run, is a great illustration of this. On the making of the album, I got to hurry because I'm going to piss my pants. On the making of the album, Grant says it took well over a year to record Always the Villain. There was such a massive learning curve in the actual recording process. Okay, I'm bored. All right, I might have him on the show because I was offered an interview, so we'll see. I might have Michael Grant on the show, so that would be interesting. I'd like to hear the time. I'll talk to the guy. I like the guy. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Here's Michael Grant and the Assassins, Red Light Run. Now, the lyrics are a little cheesy, but the song is pretty damn catchy. I'm going to go piss. Here you go. Michael Grant and the Assassins.
3.
There you go. Michael Grant and the Assassins, Red Light Run. Lyrics a little but catchy tune. All right, I got a couple of emails I'm going to read. Let's see here. Read one email, then we'll play an audio comment. We'll read another email, and we'll get the hell out of here. How about that, friends? All right, an email from Adam Brochet about the Ted Nugent interview. I hit Ted up twice on the Facebook telling him I liked the Rock and Roll Geek Show interview. He liked both comments, so he heard. So okay, I must start that over. I hit Ted Nugent up twice on his Facebook page, letting him know that I heard him on the Rock and Roll Geek show and I liked the interview. He hit like on both comments, so I know he got the message. You should really take him up on going to Waco and hunting. I know I'm going to do that, friend. I had a cool opportunity to camp with him on his land about 20 years ago. I had a hog hunt scheduled with him and he canceled due to a tour schedule. Shortly after, I got a call from a weird number on my cell phone. It was his daughter, Sasha. She apologized for the cancellation and offered a camping/hunting trip with him on his land in Michigan instead. Camping with Ted Nugent. How cool would that be, man? Sitting by the campfire and playing acoustic guitars. Fucking dream of mine, man. It was the weekend of my wedding, so I couldn't go. Dude, I would have postponed the wedding. I would have, man. I still wish I could have went. All right. And I will read another one after this. I got another message. I said I was going to read a message from Metaldan. This is on the Patreon. Metaldan writes, Michael, Tuck Smith interview. I loved it a lot. I did not know who Tuck was, but I do now. At least once a year, you knock out an amazing interview. Halfway through the year and goal accomplished. That was great. Thank you, friend. I appreciate it. I listen to your show on my iPod and most of the time while working outside for gardening, painting, etc. Regarding Mad at Dad, I too live in California. I too am tired. I should probably read this on the Mad at Dad as well. I too live in California. I too am tired of our glossy governor doing his thing on TV, but I do not watch. I also do not watch LA Mayor and gray-haired county lady give the late daily spiel. Okay. The point I want to make, you're a Republican and a gun owner. However, you give no shit to the president. Why? I do not know, other than because you're a Republican. First of all, Metal Dan, I don't know where you got, I don't want to talk, I don't like to talk politics on the Rock and Roll Geek show, especially, but first of all, I'm not a Republican. I don't know where you got that idea from. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, friend. I can't stand both of them. I can't stand either side. I don't like the man. I don't like daddy telling me what to do. I grew up hating authority. I grew up fuck the man. Stick it to the man. So I don't like Republicans or Democrats. I have no party affiliation, okay? So that's about that. I do not hold this against you, he said. I still love Michael Butler, but some of your political views I do not understand. Then he says, sorry, your marriage is not better than what it could be. I've been drinking later. All right, I've been joining you on this drink here. Hold on. Okay. My marriage is fine, at least until my wife decides she can't stand me any longer and divorces me. Until, I got spilled beer on my lap, so I'm looking for a towel here. Until my wife divorces me, I'll be married forever. All right. So, I do not hold this. I still have my, some of your political, so there you go. I don't have political views. I stick it to the man. I don't like daddy telling me what to do. I moved out of my house when I was a kid because I got tired of, I didn't want to have to take orders from my mom anymore. And I don't want to take orders from the governor. All right? That's all. Enough said. Enough of that political shit. That's it. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I can't stand either of them. In regards to why I don't badmouth Trump, you didn't hear me badmouthing Obama either, okay? So that's just, I don't feel like badmouthing Trump. Trump hasn't personally fucked me. Although he did send my internal revenue, or he did send my stimulus check to the wrong fucking bank account. So fuck you, Trump, for doing that. But I blame the internal revenue. All right, enough of that. I'm gonna play an audio comment and then we'll play. Let's see where we are. Where's my da-da-da? Okay, here you go.
Hello, Michael Butler.
Oh, good. It's Amy Bowen. I love her. I love Amy Bowen. Good. Let me back it up.
Hello, Michael Butler.
Hello.
This is Amy Bowen again.
Hey, Amy Bowen.
I wanted to follow up on my previous audio comment.
Oh, I love her voice.
First of all, Thank you so much for the compliments on my voice and my
Yes.
show,
Yes.
Thread Snippings, which is still only at my website, ameliabowen.com, mostly because it still doesn't have any cover art. Anyway.
Wait a minute. So you don't have it on iTunes because you don't have any cover art? Just put a picture of a piece of fucking needle and thread, Amy. Can somebody make her a Thread Snippings cover art, 1,500 or 3,000 by 3,000 pixels, and send it to me, and I will forward it over to Amy Bowen. Okay, back to you, Amy.
Still doesn't have any cover art. Anyway, since you said that the poem that I played in my last audio comment would have sounded better if I had read it,
Yes.
I'm happy to oblige.
Okay.
Here goes.
Oh, she's reading the same poem. Okay, good.
I think that I shall never see a bassist skilled as Geddy Lee.
Okay.
Synth and bass his fingers play.
Yes.
And he comes from Canada, eh?
It's much better. It is much better with her reading it.
He's in Rush, he's also the singer.
Yeah.
Not Limbaugh, the fat hate slinger.
Uh-huh.
A band that may in summer tour and sell out. Rush fans are hardcore. His squawky voice may bother some. Those folks prefer Neil Peart's drums.
Oh, by the way, Amy, please let me know your favorite Rush tune and sing some of it. Please call back and sing some of the words to your favorite Rush tune, please. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. I'd need to hear that.
Fools may bungle YYZ, but only Geddy can play the trees.
Yes.
Thanks again, Jack Mangan, for letting me repurpose and reshare your poem.
Yeah, it is Creative Commons 2.6.
I've really been enjoying the Rock and Roll Geek show
Have
lately.
you? Really?
I've been playing catch-up, and your shows have made a lot of tedious nights of working from home much more fun and
That's
interesting.
very nice of you to say, Amy.
I've also been discovering some new-to-me music thanks to the show. Back in episode 966, the song that you played by the sensational Alex Harvey band made me sit up and pay attention.
Uh-huh.
I went, this is totally my jam.
Yeah. What did I play for? Last of the Teenage Heroes or Last of the Teenage Idols? Yeah. I suggest you dig deep into Alex Harvey band, Amy Bowen. You'll love them.
I really liked that one a lot. Also,
Could have been
I
Faith
have
Healer.
here on my desk a handwritten note that I wrote down during one of your episodes that
good.
reads, Add to Anthem's playlist. Take on the World by Judas Priest.
Oh, yeah.
Right after Heart of Steel by Manowar.
Okay. all
Episode
right.
900.
She's a Manowar fan. Amy Bowen is a Manowar fan. I am impressed more and more by everything you do, Amy.
74, your Judas Priest Worst to Best review, introduced me to a song that I am going to buy and add to my collection of kick-ass anthems to listen to while running, biking, or
Take on the World is on Hellbent for Leather, right? Isn't that on Hellbent for Leather? Great album top to bottom, Amy.
playing
Just
sport
buy the whole album.
simulating computer games. And I even know exactly where on the playlist it's going to go. Thank you, Michael Butler, for introducing me
thank
to
you.
some new awesome music. Stay frosty, my friend.
Stay frosty,
Bye.
Amy Bowen. I love your audio comments. Please keep them coming. You too can leave me an audio comment. I don't know if it'll be better than Amy Bowen's, but you can try. I don't think you'll manage, but JB's was up there, but Amy Bowen's. Keep calling, Amy. I love it. All right. One final email, and we will play a song and get the pardon me, I'm burping this fine Tecate, possibly even puking it up. We'll get the hell out of here. Greetings from this is from Sean Drummond. Butler, you are a quality podcaster. Greetings from Nottingham, England. Firstly, this is English talk here. Firstly, thanks for I'm not going to try my British accent. It'll sound like I'm making fun of him. I don't mean to make fun of anybody. Firstly, thanks for supplying such great entertainment via your podcast. Loving the interviews, the album and gig reviews, and especially the worst to best career album rankings. I'm listening to Point of Entry right now. Oh, it's another two in a row talking about the Judas Priest worst to best. All right, I know that. Secondly, I thought you'd be interested in a review of my first ever gig. Oh, Motorhead at Pool Arts Centre, Dorset, England on April 4th, 1982. Now, I would have much rather heard this in an audio comment, Sean, but I will attempt to read it. This was the Iron Fist Tour. The album released after No Sleep Till Hammersmith and Motorhead were riding crest on a wave in the UK. Riding the crest of a wave in the UK. They still had their natural Hells Angels core following, which was evidenced by the huge number of motorcycles outside what was a small and basic venue. I was a callow, I don't know what callow means, but that's British talk. I was a callow 16-year-old who had taken a 90-minute bus journey from home with two mates. I seem to remember that label mates Tank were also on supporting and did a decent job of keeping the restless crowd quiet. Tank was good back then, man. I had a Tank t-shorts and shirt. Take a sip of this fine Tecate. Now, this was back when Motorhead was three-piece, Fast Eddie and Filthy Animal. Then Motorhead tore on stage with Iron Fist as the starter. They had jettisoned the bomber lighting rig and had an opening fist behind Phil's drums, which had spotlights in the fingers. I was absolutely blown away as the sound physically pushed me backwards. The first half of the gig was a joyous wall of noise with Lemmy asking whether the crowd wanted it louder at various stages. The set list ran as follows: Iron Fist, Heart of Stone, The Hammer, Loser, Jailbait, America, Don't Let 'Em Grind You Down, Don't Need Religion. Then I started to get some tunes that I could recognize. We Are the Road Crew, Ace of Spades, Bite the Bullet were all amazing and incredibly loud. The Chase is Better Than the Catch was obviously too much for one couple who started making out on the floor. A killer finish of Overkill, Bomber, and Motorhead left me dazed and staggered that three guys could make so much noise. The way they played made me think how tight as a group they were, which was disproved by Fast Eddie leaving the band after only 7 more shows. I ended up missing my bus home and having to sleep in a local park with my mates, arriving home sometime the next morning, deaf but happy. Oh, man, I would love to have heard that from your mouth, Sean. I would like to have seen that show, man. It was so loud, it physically pushed him backwards. Oh, shit, I should close out with a Motorhead tune now, huh? Keep up the podcast. It's a real lifeline as we are all stuck in with the coronavirus lockdown. How about a worst to best for AC/DC or Kiss? Stay safe. I should probably do that. You're right, Sean. I think have to. I will look into that. Stay safe and stay frosty. Best regards, Sean. Okay. Now I got to find. Thank you, Sean, for that email. I really appreciate it. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Please keep the emails coming. All right. We're going to get out of here. I was going to play Bridget West, Pretty Suicide Acoustic. I'll tell you what. I'll play Bridget West as a bonus. So I'm going to play a Motorhead tune. And after the Motorhead song, I will go into the Bridget West Pretty Suicide Acoustic. Okay. Let me see. Let me find Motorhead. Which, by the way, she did this on, she's been playing some acoustic tunes on the Facebook. And this was really good. It sounded great. And I love Bridget West, if that's her real name. All right, let's see. We can find Motorhead. Now, I'm pulling this out of my ass here, so I don't have this prepared in a playlist. And my internet is shaky at best. Motorhead. What do I have? Another? Of course. Let's see. Oh, I got to get back on. I got to get back on the internet. I got to do the hotspot again because I get disconnected here all the time. So connect back to the internet. Yada da 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 da. Okay, I'm back on. Okay, let's see. I got Another Perfect Day, Bad Magic, Kiss of Death, Motorhead, Motorizer, No Remorse. All right, let's play. Is this gonna play? See if it plays. Dancing on Your Grave. It might not come through because of this internet. All right, let me pause this and get this shit going here. Hold on. Okay, now the internet is back on. All right, here's Motorhead Dancing on Your Grave, and stick around till after this song because then I'll play the acoustic Bridget West. Thank you for joining. Oh, hold on a second. Thank you for tuning in, friends. I really appreciate it. There's a million podcasts out there, and thank you for listening to this one. They can't all be winners, but shit, I got my tech. Mick Cripps is going crazy on the text now with the Corova shit. Thank you for listening, friends. I really appreciate it. I can't promise they'll all be great, but I can promise you they'll be honest, and that's the best I can do. Thank you for the donations. Please keep the donations coming. This show is a value for value, so if you get any value out of this at all, please do what you can, friends, to help support me. And times are tough, so your support is needed now more than ever. All right, here's Motorhead Dancing on Your Grave. Thank you for listening, friends. I'll talk to you soon.
such a pretty suicide. And right now, she looks her best. Over 50-story board of stardom. She found her fame top of a car. 50 stories she could have told how life pushed her just a little too far. She was such a pretty suicide. Oh, what a beautiful mess. She was such a pretty suicide. Snap a photo so you don't forget. Now I often stop and wonder how on earth she could have done it. Twisted up, yet all fixed up. How I wish I could have held her. And life can be so cruel to such a pretty girl. She's made it all so clear. Out the window with all her fear, you know she was such a pretty suicide. Oh, what a beautiful mess. She was such a pretty suicide. Oh, what a beautiful mess, yeah. She was such a pretty suicide. Oh, what a pretty suicide. She was such a pretty suicide. Oh, what a pretty suicide. Oh, what a pretty suicide. Oh, what a pretty suicide.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.